Goat Simulator is a game that seemed to be everywhere advertisement wise, and it finally popped up on the monthly PlayStation freebie games for the month. So I decided to take the time to dive in and see what this quirky small game was about and pick up a nice platinum. So many regrets later, I come to give very few of you who probably yet to play this a grim and stark review of warning. So let's get the basics out the way and say this is loosely a term for a game. It's a sandbox effort that you roam around as a goat and basically cause as much chaos and stupidity as you can amongst the residents or other animals hiding amongst the two levels you get. And that is correct, there are just two levels, which are kind of just mini cities. Naturally there are a ton of DLC thrown on top of this, but you have to pay for them. This has the feel of a hastily slapped together low effort mod, rather than a game branded of such a title. The first 5-10 minutes, the quirkiness and fun is kind of there, and some of the random moments are a nice nod, but after you hit 15 minutes to half an hour, you realise there's nothing going on in this game. The progression is non-existent, gameplay is just basic, and anything remotely fun is mostly because of the glitches and bugs that seem to happen, which makes the game better than worse. Platinum Hunters, this game is 99% easy, and you have a mild hidden collectible trophy in amongst it to get, but it's not really that difficult. Most trophies are just finding hidden moments or basic actions that aren't really hard, and there are plenty of guides just in case you do need to figure them out. But as you may have noticed, I did say 99%, and that's because there's one dirty trophy that hides amongst this list, and it's called Flapmaster. Anyone who's played Flappy Bird on mobile will know how this is played. Carefully press buttons to keep your goat from touching boundaries and reach 10 boundaries for the trophy. A clip is in the video for all you to see. But the clip doesn't tell you how poor the hitboxes are on the obstacles and how inaccurate the button presses can be. So be warned, this is a stress-inducing trophy. Back to the game itself, they try to add extra fun elements by unlocking new goats which all have different abilities. It's okay, and one or two goats once unlocked are extremely helpful, but most are just gags that, due to how poor the game is, they're just not funny and they do miss the mark. And also a point that has to be made of the horrible repetitive one tune that is played over and over. It gets old fast, and much like everything else in this game, it just seems like there was no effort really made. Some of the biggest issues on face value with the game is the HUD screen is really ugly compared to the rest of the game, and it really stands out for being how bad and pointless it is. It also reminds me of the PlayStation 1 era games of Tony Hawk's. It just seems really poorly done. Also, with the goat, he can headbutt, but there's just no real feedback from any of the interactions or damage that you kind of do. It just seems really odd and a weird disconnect for this game. You also find that there's frequent clipping issues, and often you'll see your goat spiral and spasms, which is fun the first few times. When it's constantly happening, it just becomes a bit boring and a bit pointless, and becomes a bit of a hindrance after the first two times of finding it funny. And then the ragdoll feature also, it just seems like a weird tacked on point in this game, which it just seems to be like they just try to throw a load of old games together and put a goat on it for quirkiness, and laugh at everyone for purchasing the game. It just really seems like there was no real idea of anything being set out here. For this lack of effort with the game, I have to give it a 1 out of 5. This is probably the poorest game I've had to play on Platinum. And if it's free, then try for it if you've got a high stress tolerance. But apart from that, it can be a hard pass and you're never going to miss anything. Hope this video helps. Give me a like, subscribe and feedback.